Right now, most corporate professionals are suffering from a silent health crisis that's slowly killing them, and they don't even know it. The very habits driving their success are quietly destroying their bodies and minds. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could not only save your career, but your life. I know what you're going through because I've been there. Let me take you back to 2010. I had lost everything: my business, my confidence, my health. I was prescribed an SSRI for depression. My body fat was over 25%. I was taking Tylenol every night for my relentless headaches. I had atrial fibrillation, chronic migraines, neck, shoulder, back, hip, and knee pain, and my brain fog was a constant companion. I was a mess. I can relate to the silent health crisis because I was living it. But here's the thing. Today, all of those issues are gone. My life isn't perfect. I still wrestle with the stress of running a company full of young people who suffer from the same crisis I did, and you may be right now. But now I'm equipped with the tools to manage it, and I'm here to share those tools with you. Recent data indicate that approximately 60% of American adults live with at least one chronic condition, and 42% have multiple chronic conditions. In my opinion, based on the cases we see at Stark, which are generally much healthier than the average American, those percentages are way understated. You probably can relate. As a matter of fact, I'm confident that you're currently experiencing one or more of those issues that I'm about to get into. The silent health crisis isn't just one thing. It's an ecosystem of problems. Chronic stress wears down your mental and physical health. Sitting all day at work contributes to poor posture, back pain, and obesity. Inflammatory diets wreck your metabolism, and poor sleep amplifies everything, including your mental health. So these problems, they don't exist in isolation. They feed off of one another. Left unchecked, they spiral into metabolic syndrome, diabetes, heart disease, depression, and ultimately a shorter life. And during that entire short life, the quality of life is diminished. So if you don't take action on this, the effects will be profound and they will compound over time. Your stress will turn into chronic diseases, your metabolism will slow to a crawl, your relationships, energy, and ability to perform will crumble. I've seen it happen and I have lived it. And the worst part, most people don't even realize they're headed for disaster until it's too late. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. The solution isn't complicated. It's simple, but it requires intentionality. A few small changes can lead to massive results. Stick with me and I'll show you exactly how to escape this crisis on your own. But before we continue, if you're ready to take your health to the next level, subscribe to my channel and let's solve this crisis together. I truly know how you feel. Every morning, I drag myself out of bed after tossing and turning all night long. I'd stop at Starbucks for a grande mocha and a bagel with cream cheese just to get through the morning. By 10 a.m., I'd need another coffee. If I worked out at lunch, it was really half-hearted, kind of avoiding exercises that hurt my joints, particularly my shoulders. Afternoons, they were brutal. The headaches would start, and by the time I got home by 6 p.m., I was exhausted, my eyes were bloodshot. I was medicating with a glass of wine to get through the evening, and every day felt like a battle, like an energy struggle. I remember picking up my infant son one morning, like really in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and as he straddled my belly, it was kind of sticking out, I told myself, well, you're just getting older. I resigned myself to that idea, but I was wrong, and so are you if you think it's too late. I was 31, but you might wonder, do I need to completely overhaul my life? And the answer is absolutely not. Permanent change happens with small, consistent steps. As an author by the name of B.J. Fogg writes in Tiny Habits, and James Clear emphasizes in Atomic Habits, big results come from stacking one little tiny change on top of another, and they lead to long-term sustainable wins. Another common question, what if I don't have the time for this? I'm going to show you how to reclaim your time through non-exercise activity thermogenesis and efficient workouts. I hear this objection all the time. Healthy food is expensive. Actually, foods like eggs, lean meats, and vegetables are really, really cost effective. You'll be shocked at how eating those high-quality foods from a grocery store are far less expensive than the frequency of your dining out and the impact that dining out has on your health. Exercise hurts. I'm just kidding. I never hear that. Everyone knows they need to exercise. My suggestion, because being social is critical to being healthy also, is that you combine them. Get into a community of people who exercise or recruit your loved ones into yours. That way you don't need more time to do this. You don't need family time and exercise time. You don't need time with your friends and exercise time. You're already with your people and you're improving your health at the same time and influencing them to do the same. And the solution. The first general concept for you to understand is that you need to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. So let's talk about what to eat and what to avoid. To be successful, there are certain foods you'll need to learn to prioritize. To reduce inflammation, your diet should revolve around whole, nutrient-dense foods. So you're going to start with lean proteins like beef, chicken, fish, and eggs, and you're going to incorporate healthy fats from things like avocados and olive oil, nuts, and seeds. You'll also add anti-inflammatory carbs like sweet potatoes, quinoa, and an abundance of colorful vegetables, in particular leafy greens, cruciferous veggies like broccoli, and bright berries like blueberries and raspberries, which are packed full of antioxidants. So after you add all those foods to your diet, there's an entire category of foods you're going to eliminate from your diet. Equally important is what you don't eat. So inflammatory foods like refined sugars, and I know that's so hard to do. I struggle with that myself. The secret to not eating so much sugar is never let it in the house. So you actually have to go somewhere like an ice cream shop or something to get the ice cream. You don't have it in your freezer. Same thing with processed snacks. White bread, sugary beverages are the worst. They spike your insulin levels and fuel chronic inflammation. And that chronic inflammation disables your ability to think as clearly. You literally aren't as smart when your brain is chronically inflamed. And so then you make poor food choices. So you've got to find a way to extract those from your life. Obviously, trans fats, they're often found in fried foods and baked goods and are a major culprit. Processed meats like sausages and hot dogs contain advanced glycation end products, AGESs, which worsen inflammation. And lastly, excessive alcohol and artificial additives in packaged foods also contribute to systemic inflammation. But it may be confusing as to why all of this matters. So I'm going to explain it. When you reduce inflammatory foods and prioritize nutrient-dense options, you calm the body's inflammatory pathways. It's less stressful for your body. And this just doesn't help with pain. It's a game changer for mental clarity and for your mood too. Mental health or mental well-being has been in the headlines for ages. And this is one of the theories that Americans are walking around with high degrees of inflammation. And when your brain is inflamed, you can't feel well, you don't feel well, you don't think well, you don't even sleep well, which causes another cascade of problems. In my opinion, with dropping inflammatory foods from your diet, you will make more money too, because your brain will work like it was intended, like you're capable of. Okay, well, let's switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about protein. It's the foundation of your health. Protein is far more than fuel. It's the foundation of muscle-centric health. Dr. Gabriel Lyon, a pioneer in muscle-centric medicine, highlights that muscle is the body's largest organ system and a critical driver of metabolic health. Protein promotes muscle protein synthesis, which is the process of repairing and rebuilding muscle tissue after you exercise or daily wear and tear in your body. This doesn't just enhance strength. It improves your metabolic rate, insulin sensitivity, and even your brain health. Of course, there's a mental health impact. Muscle is a protective shield against inflammation and mental illness. So by improving your body's muscle mass, you disrupt the bidirectional relationship between metabolic syndrome and depression. They go both directions. And what I mean by that is that metabolic syndrome can cause depression. Depression can cause metabolic syndrome. They basically create this spiral effect that is really, really nasty from a health standpoint. Higher protein intake also helps stabilize blood sugar, which directly reduces mood swings, anxiety, and fatigue. It's amazing. So how to get enough protein? How do you know if you're getting enough protein? Just a general rule of thumb is to aim for 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight on a daily basis. Focus on lean meats, fish, eggs, cottage cheese, and Greek yogurt. Whey protein can also help you hit your daily targets if you don't have an issue with dairy. You may not want to hear this, but in my opinion, eating vegan sources of protein like soy will be a big problem for you. Soy is a very, very dirty crop. But if you want to be vegan, you're going to have to pay very close attention to how you're supplementing to get your body and mind what it needs. And then, of course, there's strength training. Building muscle, doing it safely. First, before jumping into a strength training session, you must prepare your joints to move through their full range of motion. My favorite for this is something called CARs, circular articular rotations. They're controlled, deliberate movements that wake up your joints and sort of lubricate them with synovial fluid. For example, slowly rotating your shoulders in large Circles helps prepare the joint for pressing or pulling exercise. Did you hear that little pop? Oh, I'm getting older. What can I say? Similarly, hip cars involve standing on one leg and slowly circling the other leg in the air to mobilize the hip joint. These movements not only prevent injuries, but they also improve your joint health very slowly over time. It takes a long time. This is like a daily practice. Better yet, you do it like 3 times a day. It only takes a few minutes, but it should be part of your daily practice. Cars, circular, articular rotations. And of course, you know a lot of the benefits of strength training. And building muscle doesn't just improve your appearance. It reduces systemic inflammation, increases bone density, and stabilizes blood sugar by improving insulin sensitivity. This is super powerful stuff. My favorite way to start is with compound movements like squats and deadlifts and push-ups, which engage multiple muscle groups and progress gradually to avoid injury. And then there's zone 2 cardio. When you do this, you're actually reshaping your heart. Let me explain what that means. Zone 2 cardio involves working at about 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, and that builds cardiovascular efficiency. It doesn't really feel that hard, to be honest. Think like taking a brisk walk or going for a light jog or cycling at a conversational pace, meaning you can actually speak to someone. This type of exercise strengthens the left ventricle of your heart, making it more efficient at pumping blood. Over time, this adaptation reduces your resting heart rate, which is a key marker of cardiovascular health. You can see it in whatever you use to measure your stuff, like an Apple Watch or an Oura Ring or a Whoop. You'll actually see your resting heart rate slowly come down over time if you're nice and consistent in doing that super boring zone 2 cardio. For example, a resting heart rate above 80 beats per minute may indicate stress, high stress, or poor fitness, while elite endurance athletes often have resting heart rates in the 40s and 50s. But you don't need to be an endurance athlete to have resting heart rate that low. You merely need to do this type of training on a regular basis. My resting heart rate is about 50, and I definitely would not consider myself an endurance athlete. And you also have to incorporate stress management tactics, using things like music to wind down. If you're exercising like I described, you're well on your way to managing stress in a better way. But if you're like me, exercise alone just isn't enough. I actually have to change how I live the rest of my day to help manage stress because I'm just type AAA personality. And I think that maybe you're the same way. So I use music. At the end of a long day, your brain needs to signal to transition from work mode to rest mode. And music designed at 60 beats per minute, which mimics the rhythm of a relaxed heart rate, can actually do that for you. This tempo triggers the brain to synchronize with the beat, helping you shift into a state of calm, peace. So my suggestion is you create a playlist of calming music and you set aside 10 to 15 minutes to listen as you unwind, preferably with your eyes closed and the lights dimmed. This not only helps lower cortisol levels, but also optimizes your transition into restorative sleep. And then there's a whole category of sleep hygiene, optimizing for recovery. So we're going to talk briefly about the ideal sleep environment. Sleep is the ultimate recovery tool. Keep your bedroom cool. Research shows the ideal temperature is about 65 degrees, which signals your body to enter a deeper sleep state. So in that time, you want to completely minimize light exposure by using things like blackout curtains or a sleep mask if you're traveling, and limit screen time at least an hour before bed to avoid that blue light interference with melatonin production. Here's an additional tip. Consider using a white noise machine to block out disruptions and create a consistent bedtime routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, reinforces your body's natural circadian rhythm. As an aside, if you want more on sleep, check out my interview with Molly Eastman, founder of Sleep is a Skill. Absolutely amazing. You can check her out on Instagram too. Now we're going to talk about hormones, unlocking mental and physical vitality. Sounds delicious, huh? But we're going to focus in on the role of sex hormones in the brain. Sex hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone, they're not just for reproduction. They play critical roles in mental health for both men and women. These hormones, they interact with receptors in the brain, particularly in areas related to things like mood and focus and memory and even motivation. For women, optimal testosterone levels are essential for maintaining energy, libido, cognitive sharpness, and emotional resilience. While often overshadowed by estrogen and progesterone, testosterone also supports bone density, muscle strength, and overall confidence. Balanced levels of estrogen and progesterone further enhance mood stability and cognitive function, creating a synergistic effect when all three hormones are optimized. So when sex hormones are declining, so does energy, so does mood, so does metabolism. For men, testosterone replacement therapy improves things like muscle mass, insulin sensitivity, and mental clarity. For women, hormone replacement therapy, HRT, balances the hormonal fluctuations that can contribute to anxiety, depression, and metabolic issues during menopause. But not just during menopause, before and after as well. By optimizing these issues, you're addressing the root causes of so many physical and mental health challenges. The solution isn't just a quick fix, it's a lifestyle, but it's simple, effective, and within your reach. Just start small, win the day with just one change, then build from there when it becomes a permanent change. Now that you understand the hidden health crisis in corporate America, it's time to take your health to the next level. If you're serious about maximizing your longevity and maintaining peak performance, watch this next video because it covers the secrets to staying healthy and driven in high-stress environments. And don't forget to grab your free training at watchtodd.com. That's watchtodd.com. You'll be glad you did.